Hello and welcome to the Ultimate Empire Total War Guide. In this series, I'll teach you everything that you need to know about Empire Total War. This video will focus on the government and international diplomacy. So I hope you enjoy the video. I'd appreciate if you could comment anything that I missed, because at the end of the series, all these videos will be compiled into one mega guide, and I will add any comments that you've suggested into the mega guide. And without further ado, let's get into it. So, in order to access the government panel, you can either press down here or press G. So the first thing that will come up is a summary about your country and the government. So it tells you about your leader, your government type. There's three government types. You have absolute monarchy, constitutional monarchy, and republic. We'll cover all three in this video. It shows your state religion, and it also shows who you're at war with, who you're allied with, and who you're trading with, which will be covered later in the video, and also information about taxation and your costs, which will be covered in a later video. So over here you can adjust your tax policies. You can set higher taxes, which will give you more income, but it will make the people more unhappy. Or you can set lower taxes, which will increase happiness but reduce income. And you can also set different tax levels for different theatres. So if you want to set lower taxes in America, for example, you can. Trade is going to be covered in its own video. And this brings us to, in my opinion, the most important part of the government, which is your ministers. So you have your leader at the top, and then you have your cabinet. So these are the guys who are in charge of certain departments, and depending on how skilled they are, which is indicated by these stars, they will provide certain bonuses. So like our Navy guy is pretty good, so he reduces some of our costs for our Navy. And at the top it shows your government popularity, which if your government's more popular, people will be happier, but it's more important really in republics. In absolute monarchies, if there's any of these ministers you don't like, you can replace them with one of the candidates down here. And so, for example, our First Lord isn't very good. We could replace him with this guy, for example. And once per turn, you'll get new candidates down here. So it's important to keep an eye on that to see if you can find better guys for your government. And also sometimes it can be worth moving guys around because they might be more suited to particular roles, and how good they are is determined by these traits. So as you can see, this guy is a tactician, which means he is better at managing the army. So if you put him there, his skill goes from 4 stars to 5 stars. So that's everything you need to know about government in an absolute monarchy. The government works differently in a republic. So you still have all your ministers and your ministries and traits. However, rather that you have less control over the government, because you can only fire one minister per turn, and you can't choose who the next minister is going to be. Just going to assign one. You can still move ministers around as much as you'd like, but you can only fire one minister every turn. And rather than having a king, you have a president who is elected, and you have elections every 8 turns by default, or you can just hold one whenever you like. And depending on your government's popularity, it depends on whether they win the election or not. And after 2 terms, the president changes and you get a different president. A constitutional monarchy's government functions as a mix of a republic and a monarchy. So you have your ministries and your ministers, and you can only fire one each term, like in a republic, and you have elections, but rather than being every 8 turns, they are every 10 turns. However, the main difference is that your leader does not change. You keep the monarch until he dies and is replaced by another king or queen. So It's possible to change government types. I already have a video about that, which I will link. And in terms of which government type is best, I think it really depends on your play style. Republics keep the lower classes happy, so they might be good if you want to expand quickly, but having a monarchy gives you more control over the government, which might be better maybe for a newer player. So, now that we have covered governments and different government types, we'll move on to diplomacy. So you can access the diplomacy panel by either pressing this button down here or pressing I, and this will bring up a list of countries divided into major and minor nations. So the major nations, except the Mughal Empire, are all playable, and this tab will also show you who you are allied with, who you're at war with, and your trade partners. So if any country is to declare war on you, or if you declare war on any country, their allies will join, and if they don't join, that breaks the alliance. However, and if you declare war on a country, you can call in your allies, but they don't have to help you. So these countries have different attitudes towards you, depending on many factors, such as whether you have alliance, any historical friendships, government type, religion, etc. So if you open up negotiations, you have quite a few options. You can make a trade agreement, which we can't do with Russia because they don't have the capacity with their ports, and there's not a land connection between the countries. You can request an alliance. You can present them with a gift which improves your relationship. You can declare war. You can request military access, which allows you, or off military access. This allows you to move troops through each other's respective territory. You can offer or demand regions from them. You can exchange technology, and you can offer or demand payments, so you can do a one-off payment or a repeated payment per turn. And so some countries also have a special type of alliance with a protectorate, which is where the protectorate pays you tribute. And for Britain, France, and Spain, they all get missions where if they capture certain regions, they are allowed to annex their protectorate. So that's everything you need to know about diplomacy, and that's the end of episode 1. I hope you found this guide useful. If you did, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe so you'll see when I upload the next episode. Okay, bye.